Hello, hi, good afternoon, good afternoon. This is Michelle Fanger and this is Immigration Times. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. And here in Florida, telling you we're having some northern cold weather. I hope you're surviving, bundled up, not getting sick if you're in Florida. If you're just joining how cold it is where you are. And it's been a while, but tell your family and friends I'm on. As you know, it's a show in which I answer any immigration question you might have. And if you want to drop your questions in the chat, that is awesome. I'll read it to the audience. I'll respond. If you don't want to, you could always, as I said, send me an email, but make sure you title it Immigration Times Question to admin@bangerlawfirm.com. Usually some of the questions, if I don't see any questions being asked in regards to immigration, I will talk on topics that I've experienced in my practice, because I do have my own practice, the Fanger Law Firm, where I do address immigration issues and work with immigration clients, whether if they want to migrate to the United States or if they're already here in the United States and they want to legalize their status. So oftentimes I get calls daily with issues that I think the wider society might not be familiar with, or they themselves might have those questions, but don't know that other people are experiencing the same issues that they're having. So this is why I try to do this platform to highlight common issues, that general topics. Remember, if I'm giving this information, I'm not your legal representative. I still recommend that you reach out to an attorney. You could reach out to me and contact me. I'm on all social media at the Fanger Law Firm, and I'll definitely be able to assist you. So I see like a few people coming on. Please share and tell your family and friends that I'm on. So one of the major things I want to talk about, that I've had 2 calls about this topic, and it's regards to citizenship and how parents can pass on their citizenship. One instance from one of the contacts calls I had, the minor child was already in the United States. One of the other questions I had, the child was outside of the United States. So I'm going to address both scenarios. What do you do if the child is here in the United States, they're without status, but one of the parents is a citizen? What can be done? And also I'll address for those individuals who have children who are outside the United States, but they want to see if they could get them their citizenship or how to go about getting it for them if they're outside, but they are a U.S. citizen. All right. So I know a lot of people might already this topic might not be of interest, but you might have somebody that this might be of interest to, because it's an issue. And I always say, if you're able to assist your child or anyone to get their citizenship or become legalized, then it is best that you do it. So the first one I want to address is for those who have children who are here in the United States and they want to help them to get their citizenship. So one of the main requirements is that before the child becomes 18 years old, the parent should, whether the mother or the father or both, should be the U.S. citizen. So it's before the child turns 18. So if the child is already 18, you cannot transmit citizenship to that child if they're over 18. So this has to be done before the child becomes 18. All right. So either you're naturalized or by birth, however you get your citizenship, you have to be the child has to be 18 if they're in the United States for it to be transmitted. They have to be here with a green card, the minor child, so that the citizenship can be transmitted to them. They have to be here with a green card, permanent residency. So that's another requirement. So one of the parents or both parents have to be a citizen before the child turns 18. The child has to be here with a green card, living here with a green card. And after admissions, not only has a green card, not only that the parent is a citizen, but that the child resided or was taken care of by the citizen parent. You can't be like, oh, I've never done anything for this child, but yet still I'm going to transmit the citizenship. You have to establish that you have been involved with the child in some capacity. All right? So you have to have legal and physical custody of the child. How do you establish legal and physical custody? Two separate things. So people think, oh, because you live with the child, that's it. No, legally, you have to show that you legally have control over the child. And also physical is going to show that if the child lives with you, whether they're going to school, they have certain things come in, mails or whatever, I can prove that you were actually involved in their life. And also, if the child is adopted, his or her adopted parents must be fully and final so that the adoption process is legally complete and fully recognized. So if you adopt a child, the adoption has to be completed. And a lot of parents, like grandparents, want to adopt their grandchildren, or you want to adopt your niece, so it has to be completed. Once the adoption process is completed, that is your child. So then citizenship can be transmitted to that child. All right. Also be mindful that if you adopt a child and the child becomes, like, you become the parent of the child, obviously once adoption is completed, the parental bond between the child and their biological parents has ended. So it means that if the child becomes a citizen, that child cannot then petition for their biological parent because that relationship has ended, right? There's no right between the adopted child. The child is then considered the child of their parent. So they cannot do anything for their biological parents. A lot of people don't understand what happens when you adopt a child. They think they adopt the child, that's it, but you lose certain things. And you have to ensure that the adoption is done correctly. Make sure you follow the laws. Like if you're outside of the country, each country has certain laws and bylaws that they have to follow in regards to adoption. So ensure that you follow those requirements. Because if you don't follow the requirements of that home country, if you're adopting a child from outside of the country, USCIS will not approve any documentation until it's corrected. So ensure that whatever you do in regards to adopting a child is done in accordance with the laws of that country. And remember, if you have any question in regards to immigration for the United States, you could drop it in the chat. I'll read it and I'll answer them. So the next one I want to talk about is for those individuals who have children that reside out of the United States and you want to get them their citizenship. Some individuals think that the easiest way to do it is go and take them to the embassy, get their documentation. It's not that simple. There's a few things and steps that have to take place and certain requirements that you have to meet in order to transmit it to your child's citizenship to your child. So one of the requirements that everything you have to meet before the child is 18, similar to when the child lives in the United States, everything has to be done before the child turns 18. All right. So one, they have to have at least one U.S. citizen parent by birth or naturalization. So the child outside the United States, same way as in the first requirement, one of the parents has to be a citizen before the child turns 18. It could be by birth or naturalization before the child becomes 18. One, they have to have the U.S. citizen parent who has been physically present in the United States for a total of at least 5 years, at least 2 of which after the child turns 14. All right. So they have to meet the physical requirement of living here. Not only that, you have to prove that you're living here, you have to kind of prove that if you have a requirement to pay taxes, you are paying your taxes. They have to meet your requirement also, because you want to also prove that although the child will be a citizen, that they will not come here and be a burden. Right? You could provide for the child. And also that the child lives abroad in the legal physical custody of the U.S. citizen parent and is temporarily present in the United States pursuant to a lawful admission and is maintaining that lawful presence. So that is what you need to do if you want to transmit citizenship to your child. I know I just gave a summary of everything, And each case is very different. So that's why I always say I recommend like speak to an attorney, consult an attorney if you have questions, so that they could go through and tell you if you do qualify. Because it makes no sense to just listen to the show and say, oh, I'm going to go ahead because I know. As I said before, I'm just providing general information, and you still have to speak to an expert to get a clear understanding of your case if you have such a case. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And another thing that came up with my practice that I was asked, that I keep getting asked this question over and over. If you're coming to the United States, ensure that you're coming under the right category. If you're coming here to visit, you have your B1, B2 visa. That means you're only coming here to visit. They will give you a required time. You leave at that required time. If you are coming here to work, make sure that you come here on your work visa. Issues I see happen that I just got called, like I literally get called every week about the same issue of individuals coming here, get turned back because they say, oh, you're coming to the United States to work. Because they have a pattern. Pattern meaning if you come here for 3 months, go home for 2, come back for 3 months, go home for 2. Sometimes immigration will look at that and say, are you coming here to work? Do you have a job here or something? So they do look at patterns. And also, sometimes they look at your correspondence to see what are you corresponding before you come to the United States. And sometimes people can report you and they have you on their radar. So make sure when you come here, you're coming under the right requirements so that you don't have issues. Because if they do take away, if you're coming here and they return you back and take away, cancel your visa, it's going to be really difficult for you to regain that visa. And also, if somebody's going to petition for you in the future, it's going to be hard because right there you have already violated the terms of one of the visa requirements. It's going to be hard for them to not see that you will be violating it. Another question that came up where I see people having is that for those who want to become a U.S. citizen and they have their green card, they've had it for a while, one of the requirements is that you have to update immigration when you do the application. Like in the last 5 years, how many times you've traveled, you have to provide the time frame, like how many days. A lot of people cannot find that information. And I want to say, keep records of how you travel, when you travel, if you have a green card, and how often you travel. Because you have to make sure that when you're traveling, if you got it, if you didn't get it through marriage, you get it out, you're trying to get your citizenship after 5 years, you have to ensure that you haven't been out of the country more than at least 2.5 years outside the country consistently. It doesn't have to be consistently. And if you're getting it through marriage, you have to ensure that you're not out of the country more than half of the time. So ensure that whatever you do, that you keep a track of it, because you have to update. When you're doing the application for citizenship, you have to actually put the timeline of when you left the country. So try to keep record. It's hard to keep record for green card holders, because usually there's no record for CBP that you're coming in or out. So you can go like on the CBP website, like when somebody with a regular visa or work visa, and see your entry and exit. It's kind of more difficult to get that information. So when you travel, and also when you're going for your citizenship, if at any point you've been pardoned or you get one of your cases expunged, for immigration purposes, you have to disclose the information. You have to disclose the charge, you have to disclose what it was, and you have to provide a disposition. You can't say because it was expunged and you're pardoned, it means that it's no longer important. To immigration, you have to provide that information, and they will look at the charges. If it's years ago and it's not a major felony, more than likely will not impact you getting your citizenship. But you have to provide the information. Don't say because I was 16 or a man. You have to provide the information, okay? Because it goes towards where they look at it and saying you're willfully misrepresenting the information, and you wouldn't want that, because that means they not only deny the citizenship application, but they could go further and take your green card. So make sure. And if you think you have certain criminal records or things like you think would impact you getting your citizenship, definitely consult an attorney, figure it out, sort it out so that you could address things before. What some attorneys like myself, if I look at your record and I see that you might have an issue getting your citizenship, I will tell you, you know what, just renew your green card. Right now, the law hasn't changed. Citizenship is not fit for you right now. And just hold off. But it's up to you have to speak to somebody, because I've seen people that have serious issues. They listen to somebody or they do it on their own. They go ahead and submit their citizenship application and end up in deportation. So definitely speak or consult with somebody if you think you have an issue that might impact you become a citizen, because there's nothing wrong with having your green card. Just stay out of trouble. All right. And so that's an important thing. And as you know, we have an election year coming up. So definitely people should go ahead and apply for your citizenship if you qualify. And if you think you qualify, speak to an attorney if you think you might have issues that I said earlier. But if you think you qualify, then go ahead and submit that application. I know that, as I said, it should be a short show, 15 minutes, but I did went a little bit longer, 5 more minutes. So definitely, thanks for joining me. For those who tuned in, please tell your family and friends, share, and tell your family and friends to tune in. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Bye.